someday the folks at Sony will understand that the actor that plays Spider-Man isn't the biggest thing ever. Hello one, hello all, welcome to WILIscredia. I am CP, otherwise known as Charles. Today we're going to talk about Uncharted. I could just go play it instead, we could do that too. A young, street-smart Nathan Drake and his wisecracking partner Victor Sully Sullivan embark on a dangerous pursuit of the greatest treasure never found, while also tracking clues that may lead to Nathan's long-lost brother. The movie stars Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, and Antonio Banderas. It's a February movie. It definitely has a home in February. That's the most polite thing I can say about this movie. No, seriously, if you're a fan of the games, you might be a little perturbed to start with, without even going to see the movie, knowing that there's this fan film from 2018 that was made with Nathan Fillion, who is kind of the internet's go-to guy as far as Uncharted is concerned. To know that they went in a different direction and gave us what they gave us already before you set foot into the theater, you're thinking negative thoughts, or at least that's the general consensus of the people I've spoken to. I'm not that popular, so it could just be me. Think of National Treasure. Think of Indiana Jones. Think of those two movies and crossbreed them somehow, and that's what you have. You have a watered-down, fourth multiplicity version of Indiana Jones meets National Treasure. So right off the bat, the movie kind of grabs you with some stuff that we've seen some version of it before. Again, if you're familiar to the video games, this may be a tougher watch for you than someone just going in cold. If you're going in cold, then you know what? It's February. Nothing else is going on. You could do far worse with your time. I'll tell you that right now. There you go. Bye. But no, if you're familiar with the games, you'll feel sucked in with the first scene, which is actually not the first scene, but they grab your attention with it. And it's something that you know very well from either the trailer or video games past. And it's a neat scene. It's shot well. It's gorgeous. Again, competently made movie. There's no doubt about that. It's just the issue is when the movie settles into itself and starts, stretching its legs to tell the story. I don't buy anybody as who they are. They're trying to present this as some buddy movie, i.e. National Treasure. You need a straight man and you need a comic relief. And there is neither of either. Tom Holland, he's cheeky and he has his random things that he says, a la Spider-Man. Mark Wahlberg, he was definitely playing this straight, and he has a remark here and there, but neither one of them felt like a straight man, and neither one of them truly felt like the comic relief. Nicolas Cage was the quote-unquote straight man for National Treasure. Nathan Drake is far closer to a Indiana Jones type character than a Spider-Man type character. And I don't mean to paint Tom Holland in any sort of Spider-Man corner, but that's what he's most famous for. So we've seen 3-4 movies with him like that. So it's kind of what we've seen the most out of him. He's just kind of more of that. If you're expecting some sort of ridiculous range from Tom Holland, you're not really going to get it here. You're going to feel like it's the same guy who played Spider-Man playing Nathan Drake. But again, the problem with playing Nathan Drake is his character is a bit more cocksure. He's a bit more arrogant. When we get to Sully, which is played by Mark Wahlberg, which, first of all, I think he's far too young to play that character. But I digest. You're then left wondering if he's going to be the straight man, which he kind of is. There's running gags in the movie, but it never feels fun. As far as this movie's concerned, there's nothing new about this. Especially if you haven't seen the video games. If you think something you've seen in this movie was new, chances are you've probably seen it in a video game 7 years ago. And again, that's not to take anything away from some of the incredible cinematography, and it's gorgeous. The movie's gorgeous. Some of the scenes are captivating, but that doesn't take anything away from the fact that, movie needs character. There needs to be something to root for. I mean, you can watch something with awe, and, once that scene is over, what do you have left after that? That is kind of the issue with this movie. The chemistry between Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, I don't want to call it bland. It just feels like two people that you would never think of putting in the same room, working together, and, neither one of them's comfortable, but they're trying to be comfortable. Like, in the beginning, it kind of fits because they're first hooking up. But throughout the movie, there's no real chemistry. It just feels wooden. It just feels off the entire time. Their relationship is tremendous. It's something that's important. If you're familiar with the games, it's a pretty sturdy, pretty important relationship, and it has a tendency to sink or swim as far as carrying this movie to be a franchise is concerned. And I would have to say, based on their chemistry and their characters alone, I would say it sank. Antonio Banderas as the villain of the film. Something we've seen before. Antonio Banderas, perhaps, been a while since we've seen him in something prominent like this, or something where he's gotten to be a bad dude. I guess Antonio Banderas is better in this film than villains we've had in the past for, say, National Treasure, which isn't really saying much. National Treasure, their villains weren't that strong, but the journey was just so much fun that it didn't matter. It feels like they used the Marvel playbook for making a superhero movie with making a treasure hunters movie, and they forgot what to do with everything outside the look. Yeah, sure, they copied the homework that was the PlayStation games and had something to visually go off of and copy, but they didn't get the recipe of what made those games so successful and what made it so fun to play. I could watch somebody else play Uncharted and still have a pretty decent time. I've done it before in the past. I think there was a time where I didn't play the second one. I just watched somebody else play it, and I was perfectly content doing that. The story is cliche and predictable. I can't stress this enough. If you know what you're going into, you might be a little frustrated. There are elements of the plot that feel like they're taken out of a video game, but that isn't exactly the best thing in the world. The video game has cinematics that help you along the storytelling of the game itself, but it feels like a video game inspired by a movie, where it should be, this is a movie inspired by a video game. And actually, it's just like the movie is just playing like a video game, which doesn't work in filmmaking and in the 3-act structure, the way you tell stories. It just, you don't make movies scene, boss, scene, boss, scene, boss. And that's kind of what this is. You don't really get a grasp of anything and get to hold on to something going forward. It's not horrible. I can't stress that enough. If you're bored, by all means, go. But I guess my expectations were a little higher. Again, considering we had Nathan Fillion, who is the internet's Nathan Drake for all intents and purposes, and we had a fan film that was made for, I don't know, percentage points on the dollar for this, and it was fun. And then you have this, and well, I hope Nathan Fillion was busy, for the last 3 or 4 years straight, because this movie happened. But my problem with this starts and ends with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. I feel like Hollywood keeps making this mistake, thinking that because an actor played a specific character that made them money, that means that their actor is bankable. And I can't stress this enough. Sony, that just because somebody played Spider-Man and that franchise made you money doesn't mean that actor can carry another franchise. The thing that's carrying your franchise with Spider-Man is the outfit, is everything that comes with it, all the lore behind Spider-Man. You've done it a couple times already, and Tobey Maguire did quite well, and Tom Holland's doing quite well. But Tobey Maguire, have you seen him carry any movie since then? No. Andrew Garfield when was the last time you saw him? Genuinely, I can't remember the last movie I saw him in. I'm going to argue that the same could be said here for Tom Holland, which is why if you're going to bring Tom Holland into this, and you don't really have much to go on, because all we really have to go on is him as Spider-Man in a bunch of movies where so many other things are going on. So he's not really necessarily carrying the movie so much as he's just gluing the pieces together as the story goes along. So with that in mind, you would think that the Sully character would be something big and extravagant, and something to distract some of the attention away, and maybe build a relationship between the two characters, and they're bonding, and the Sully character's so wacky. But I can't be without them together. Again, I'll keep saying it, national treasure. Very fun movie. Nicolas Cage and the other gentleman who I haven't seen much at all. He was in that god-awful Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez movie. But it just seems like Hollywood keeps making this mistake where they cast somebody who was in something else that made money. And they're not casting stars to carry their franchises. They're casting people who were in things that made money. And that's not the same. Without spoiling anything, this is probably as far as I could go. But expecting bad things when I saw the trailer, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's serviceable. If you are stuck on a plane and this movie's there, watch it. Watch it. It's proficiently made. Again, it kind of follows the Marvel playbook. Just do things by the numbers and get the job done. But it doesn't do any extra credit. It really doesn't. Maybe the set design, but who the hell is going to grade a movie on set design? If you've seen the movie or you're excited about, let me know down below what your thoughts are. And also, I realize that there's a Marvel DC thing going on with video games between PlayStation and Xbox fans. Let me know if you're either, and if there's something that you're bringing extra to the table with that little feud. I've heard a couple people from the Xbox camp rooting against this movie just because it's Sony property, which is absurd. If you enjoyed the video, doing me a favor and clicking that thumbs up, it helps me greatly and helps you get suggested more stuff like this in the future. If you want to see other content in this channel, by all means, subscribe and click that bell to be notified when I do put other things up on this channel. Special shout out to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Lastly, but not leastly, I have been CP. You have it.